Complete Edu. It's all about learning.
Hello students, it's Manoj Bhargav. Welcome to our YouTube channel Complete Edu e-learning platform. Today our topic is solid state. Matter is made up of small tiny particles called atoms. There are two types of opposite forces working between atoms. One is intermolecular force. Between two atoms, intermolecular force is the type of force which is of attractive type. It tends to attract the atoms. Because of intermolecular forces, the molecules tend to cling to each other, so they can be very close. The second one is thermal energy, due to which molecules are apart from each other, and thermal energy make molecules move faster. Because of thermal energy, molecules are far apart from each other, and due to intermolecular forces, they are attracted to each other, but at very low temperatures, the thermal energy is very low, and due to intermolecular forces, atoms cling to each other and fix their positions. Due to their fixed positions, a state is made. This state is known as the solid state. Solid, it is something which is dimensionally stable, has a volume of its own, and does not distort in gravity field like the liquids or the gases known as fluids. If they are under gravity, they will lose their shape or distort, but solid does not distort in gravity field. It has its own volume and it is dimensionally stable. Now we see that how the solids are found in nature, or how can we classify the solids. Based on their atomic structures, solid can be classified into two ways: ordered solid and disordered solid. I like these type of classification very much, which splits things into two parts like left or right, up and down. Like this, the solids are of two types basically: ordered solid and disordered solids. Ordered solids have regular geometry in which the particles are in a regular manner or arranged in a regular manner. But disordered solids does not have a regular geometry. It means the arrangement of particles or atoms is not regular. They change after some distance. So, the ordered solid have a long range of particle in the same manner, and disordered solids does not have same particle structure in long range. So, the ordered solids thus now are called as crystalline solids, and disordered solids are called as amorphous solids. So, now let us talk about the properties of crystalline and amorphous solids. Crystalline solids have a regular arrangement of particles. Because of this, crystalline solids have a sharp melting point. Sharp melting point means the crystalline solids, when heated, melt only on a basic or fixed temperature. For example, if we took a crystalline solid and start to heat it, and its melting point is, let's assume, 700 degrees centigrade, so it will melt at 700 degrees centigrade. But in disordered or amorphous solids, their arrangement of particles is not regular, so they will start melting at some temperature and completely melt at some other temperature. They do not have a sharp melting point. They melt in a range of temperature. Firstly, when we heat them, they start to soften, then they start to melt, and in the end they completely melt. So, crystalline solids have a sharp melting point, but amorphous solids have melting points in between range of temperature. The crystalline solids have a discontinuous cooling curve, while amorphous solids have continuous cooling curve. It means when we start to heat crystalline solids, with respect to time, we assume that we are giving same amount of heat as we provide heat to a crystalline solid. its temperature increases in a regular manner. But when the temperature reaches at its melting point, we are giving same amount of heat in this time, but the rise in temperature stops. The heat we are providing is consuming in converting the solid matter into the liquid matter. At this time, the temperature remains constant. After complete solid is converted into liquid, the temperature start to rise again. It means the curve will be interrupted at the point of melting, and it also shows us that crystalline solids have a sharp boiling or melting point. But in amorphous solids, as we start to heat the solid, first it softens, then it floats and start to melt. There is nothing which is stopping the temperature to rise up. It is continuously melting and temperature is continuously rising. So we cannot define where the amorphous solid has complete molten state. So the amorphous solid do not have a sharp melting point. It melts in a range of temperature and the curve obtained is completely continuous. Next, the crystalline solids are of anisotropic nature, while the amorphous solids are of isotropic nature. What is anisotropy and what is isotropy? Let us see. Crystalline solids have anisotropic nature. Anisotropy means the crystalline solids have a basic regular structure in which particles are arranged in a regular manner. When we go through one direction and when we go through another direction in the same crystal, and if we measure any physical property like electrical resistance or we measure refractive index, we find that in different directions the value of these physical property measured is different. This is known as anisotropic nature. So we can say that crystalline solids have different values of physical properties in different directions due to regular arrangement of particles, while in amorphous solids there is not any regular arrangement of particle. If we go through any direction in the crystal, we find that same type of atoms are around in every direction. If you go in one direction and you see what type of atoms are there, and if you go in another direction, then you see approximately same type of atoms are also available there. So in every direction the physical property measured like electrical resistance or refractive index gives you the same value. So we see that if in different directions the value of physical property measured is same in amorphous solids, this is known as isotropic nature, and if the value measured of physical property in different direction is different, is known as anisotropic nature. Moreover, we see that the crystalline solids are known as true solids, while amorphous solids are known as pseudo solids or supercooled liquids. As I say, supercooled liquids, when we cool a liquid at very low temperature, it readily converts into solids. So amorphous solids are the solids which are originally liquids, but they are very viscous liquids. Viscosity is very high, so they tend to appear like solids. For example, the plastics, rubber or glass, they are examples of amorphous solids. In real, they are liquids because they have a tendency to flow, but they are very viscous, so they flow very slow. But solids have a property, basic property, that they does not flow. So crystalline solids are known as true solids because they do not flow, or they are known as true solids. they have regular arrangement and fixed positions of particles, but amorphous solids, they flow in very long time. As you see, the glass present in the windows of old houses, they are thin at upper side and thick in lower side, because in 20 or 30 or 50 years the glass flows down because of gravity. This shows us that amorphous solids have a tendency, very little tendency to flow, and something which floats is known as fluid, but it appears, amorphous solid appears as a state of solid. So amorphous solids are known as pseudo-solids or supercooled liquids. They are not true solids. For example, here in crystalline solids, if we take example of gold or silver, or we take example of iron or copper, they does not flow on normal conditions. Now we see example of these solids. Example of crystalline solids found in basically nature are like diamond, graphite, silicon carbide, iron, zinc. These are the example of crystalline solids, and glass, rubber and plastic. These are the example of amorphous solids.